Hello and welcome to another Lunch and Learn. We're live. Today we're going to be talking about being lean in your business, chopping out that excess fat and figuring out ways that you can save money during very, very challenging times. At the moment, we may find that our sales are down thanks to COVID and maybe down quite considerably. But we need to look at other areas in our business we can look at to reduce our costs and ultimately to increase our profits. Let's meet today's three amazing guests. They're hiding right here. Here they are. Well, big hello. So first up, the glamorous lady next to me there is Aine. Aine Gleeson is the managing director of WowWee. WowWee. Now, WowWee are an online gift company based in Clare and have availed of the brilliant Lean from Micro program, and it's been hugely beneficial in Aine's business. So she's going to share her expertise a little bit later. So first up, a big hello, Aine. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
There she is. And next up, down below me with the headset on, making me a little nervous because he was having difficulty logging on 5 minutes to kick off, is the brilliant Robert Hernan. Now, Robert Hernan is a senior lean advisor in Enterprise Ireland. So we're going to talk today about what exactly lean is, who's it for, and what tips and tricks we can implement in our business to save us money. So hello, Robert. Great to have you here.
Hello, very glad to be here. Thanks.
And then last, but certainly not least, I would call him our Lean from Micro expert today. The head of the local enterprise office at the local enterprise office in Clare, and making his second trip onto the Lunch and Learn hot seat is the brilliant Padraic McElwee. Padraic, you're going to tell us lots about the Lean from Micro program in a little bit. A big, big welcome to you.
Hi, everybody. Good to be on board.
So there you go. On board we are. So let's get today's show started.
Your local enterprise office, helping your business respond.
There's no turning back now. I'm gonna temporarily remove Robert. We're going to bring Robert in now in a second. Aine, I'm going to say goodbye to you briefly. We'll chat to you in about 15 minutes when you can tell us more about your experience. I want to start off today having a very quick chat with Padraic. Padraic, we're going to get into it in more detail, and you can tell us more about how to apply and what's involved a little bit later. But why don't we kick today's session off answering the question of what exactly is this Lean for Micro program that the local enterprise office is offer? And the one thing I've heard is every business that's done it said it was the best thing they ever did. So tell us more.
Greg, in simple terms, most businesses, they're so busy doing day in, day out, they don't have the capacity to step back out of their business and look at what they're doing. That is essentially what the Lean program is doing, is are we looking after our customers? Are we efficient in how we look after our customers? Is it easy for our customers to do business with us? Is there improvements we can make? And typically our experience has been those improvements have a couple of benefits. They benefit your own staff. They make their work environment a little bit easier. It's more efficient for them, shall we say, to look after the customer's needs. The customer gets a better experience. Now, if the customer has a better experience, they're more likely to come back to you. And ultimately, you actually do have a lot of cost savings. In every business that I've seen down through the years, inefficiencies built up. Am I gone?
No, you're back. So there you go. Just a minor glitch there. So you're just saying cost saving was the last thing we heard. Yeah.
Cost saving, because in every business, the nature of what we do, inefficiencies build up. And that's just through bad practice or because people have done certain things and you never look back, or new technologies have come on board. And I think Aine will touch on a lot of that later on. Even in our own environment as a local enterprise office, when I get a new member of staff, I always say to them, do you know what? Question why we do things. And quite often they look and say, what's the reason? And you look at it and you say, well, why are we doing it? All we're doing is adding 10, 15 minutes of work. But if you get a consultant in and you can save yourself 5, 10 minutes or 10 minutes, that's a considerable saving in time, efficiency, and ultimately that's going to enhance your profitability. That's, in a nutshell, in my view, that's what lean is about.
And I think particularly as a small business, when you start out as a small business, like we put the processes in place at the beginning, and then we get caught up in doing the business. It's very, very difficult. Even it seems it's very difficult for a small business to even find the time to take that kind of helicopter view of their business and actually see where they're wasting money and where they can provide a better customer experience. So I love the idea of this program. I'm going to bring Robert in just to talk more detail as regards what lean is and essentially who it's for as well. And what we often think is that lean is for other types of businesses. Lean practices can work in all businesses. We'll talk to you a little bit later. I really want to get into later, Padraic, on this lean for micro program. Sounds fantastic. So how can we apply with it? What's involved? Is it mentoring and classroom stuff? How much does it cost, and how soon can I avail of it? So we'll grab you in a little bit, Padraic. Thank you so much for that introduction. So there's Robert. Okay, Robert. So the first question that I have for you, Robert, just before we get the basics out, for me anyway, is what exactly is lean? So explain to me what the word lean is to begin with, just so we got that bit right.
So it's about people and your business, and how to help you get the most out of your business and out of your people. How to work smarter, not harder. And kind of an operation performance business kind of section, like how can you do things quicker, better, cheaper, together as a team. So competitively, you want to be good on cost, you want to be good on delivery, you want to be good on quality to satisfy your customer. What it is you're providing for your customer, and can you, as Padraic was saying there, kind of satisfy them continually, and then continue to improve your business so that you're going to satisfy them even more, that they want to come back more for you. And if you're not improving your business, you can be sure your competitors are improving their business. So lean for us is a way of you to think and look at your business and everything you do, your work and your processes, and how can you provide the most value for your customers, how you can continually improve your business by using efficiently your resources, your time, your money, your effort. And if you can reduce those and improve those, you're going to improve profitability for your organization. So there's a number of smashing little tools and techniques, common sense in a lot of places, really simple for anybody to apply, that are going to help you improve everything that you do. And then hopefully you're going to continue to do that with your people engaged and motivated.
Okay, brilliant. And there's a massive myth out there, and I want, someone actually asked me the other day. They said, you know, is lean, and they were referring to lean for micro. They said, it's mostly aimed at manufacturing businesses, isn't it?
No.
And that's not the case.
Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like, you know, so we processes everywhere. Like, you know, we've got people working everywhere. How do we do things? Like, you know, and can we make them better? So it applies across everywhere. So we got solicitors working on it. We got pharmacies working on it. We've got an animal farm visitors shop up in Mayo. We do have manufacturing companies and anybody. So, and even then, so across sectors, we got all types of sectors being involved in. So service, software, manufacturing, all types of sectors, but also within a business, it's not just on the operations side of where you process stuff, it's also the admin. So from the minute an order comes in to you delivering to your customer, your service or your product, how do you do that? And there's different units within your business, and each of them have processes, and each of them can improve and do things better. As Padraic was saying there, we start doing things and we don't kind of start looking at how we're doing them and asking how we can do things better, why are we doing this? And it's changing the mindset of people, like, you know, about looking at how they do things and seeing if we can do things better. And it goes across all the business. So accounts payable, we had a company up in Dublin, Top Flight, they looked at their accounts payable. It was all stressful by the end of the month, like, you know, 2 people working on it. They reduced the workload by 70%. They reduced the complaints from 30% to 0, and freed up one person to go and do more value-added work in the business. So it applies across the whole business and across all sectors. You're right, absolutely.
Okay, so don't matter what business you are out there listening in, this conversation is for you. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Now,
And another thing as well, like, yeah.
This
No,
sounds
just that.
it sounds so simple, Robert. Sorry, it sounds so simple. What you're saying, but how do you even begin to, I suppose, begin to look at your processes? What tips and tricks would you give to a business that's listening to this for the first time and saying, "Yeah, I should do this, but I'm so busy"?
Yeah. Again, there's a lot of simple tools and techniques. One that's classically applied is called a workplace organization, 5S. Can you sort out what things you have around you? Like, can you set these things in order, and then can you standardize and improve on things? So it's kind of like your declutter and whatever. So some of you might have heard of Marie Kondo out there in the home place. How do you declutter your wardrobe? How do you make sure that when you open up wardrobe, you see where everything is? You're not wasting time going around the place. It's the same idea. Let's get rid of stuff we don't need around our workplace. Make sure that everything that we need is near where we need it. And then, we can visually see that we've got everything that we need. So workplace organization, simple thing that saves a lot of time of people moving unnecessarily around the place, materials not being able to find, wasting time. It's your money. Time is money. Standardization. How do we ensure that we reduce the variation between how things are made, and how we can improve quality? So it's excellent for that. And what standardization allows people to do is create clarity about how something should be done. It's agreed by the whole team. And then you can say, okay, now that we've got a good standard in place, let's improve things. You don't want things in people's head and nobody knows, and the colleague next to them is doing something differently. So we want to kind of standardize, find the best way that everybody's agreed on to do something, and then to improve on that. And then there's things like, practical problem solving, getting people to the idea of looking at data, very simple data, and trying to see, then if they give them the tools to problem solve, to ask why are we doing this? What might be the root cause in this problem? And can we then get to the root cause and improve, get rid of that error, that issue? So there are some of the simple things that flow. It's very simple, the mapping out where you move materials and people. So Skylark, electric stairs were on your show there a couple of weeks ago. Peter Morrow, Up and Go, a fantastic company. They went in with their consultant, Paul McNicholas, Lean Team Strategies, and she basically just got what's called a spaghetti diagram. You get a bit of paper and a bit of pencil, and you track where is that material moving around your whole factory. And all of a sudden, you got lines going up and down all around the place, and you realize we've gone over, we've gone back, we've gone over, we've gone back. That doesn't sound efficient. So they moved all the machines so that it flowed well, so the material flowed seamlessly in one way. And for example, their packaging process, they reduced that from taking 90 minutes to doing it in 10 minutes. Wow. So they had fantastic successes around the place. A lot of simple things in it, mapping out your processes, knowing what you do, and seeing if there's just better ways to do it. Flow, whatever it might be. Great stuff.
I love the idea of just challenging everything. So every time you're doing something, just take a second to think, why are we doing that? Can we do that better? If we can get into that mindset, we can identify lots of things that we're doing inefficiently because we historically did it that way. There was a question in, and again, it's quite a broad one, but how can I reduce my operating costs? So what are the kind of things that you would say for changing operating costs?
So an example down in Cork might be Academy Crest. They do embroideries. Again, they introduce some of those simple things, looking at mapping out their processes, seeing how they were doing things, getting good flow on things, standardizing how they do, reducing variation, so they're not reworking, they're not looking on defects and they went from using 3 units to 1 unit. So they reduced the amount of space that they needed to do their work, and they were still doing the same amount of work. So they, and then actually they were able, so that reduced their overheads, their costs around those extra spaces they needed. And actually then they were able to kind of rent that out. So they got a revenue from it. So there's, a lot of different ways like that you can do stuff. Our Darren Gin Distilleries in Tullamore, They were producing 500 bottles of gin a day. They got in a big order that they were unable to meet by the end of the month, and said, we're never going to do that again. They got in touch with the local enterprise office. They got in a lean consultant, Almir in Limerick, who looked at how they were doing things, again, mapping stuff out, went from batch production to one-piece flow. It's a slightly technical thing, but it's just like, it's commonly used, got the flow going, and increased from 500 bottles a day to 1,500 bottles a day. So you are increasing your capacity and your productivity by just doing things smarter. When you thought you could only do 10 bags a day, you're now doing 25 bags a day. And just taking out wasteful time, and you're more productive with your people and your space and whatever, very often without any investment in any of those people, space or equipment.
Brilliant. There's another question in, which is a great one. Thank you for that. I'm not sure who asked it. Where can you find info on workflow tools and processes? What resources online could we look at?
So there's any amount of videos, YouTube and stuff, or whatever you find about lean and certain specific kind of things. The primary thing I would say, is go to your local enterprise office, or which for an Enterprise Ireland company, go to your EI development advisor. They can put you in contact with an appropriate lean consultant, and the lean consultants will be able to come in and sit down, walk the floor with you, see how you do things, talk with you and seeing how you're doing things, and say, right, they'll have great experience in being able to look around and say, here's what we can do here, and how to improve things. So I would advise, go to those lean consultants in your local enterprise office to kind of put you in the right direction on those. There's a lot of stuff on the YouTube, on different sources on the internet. So you could be going to get in touch with your local enterprise office.
So Google's our friend. There's loads there. There's loads there. But what I really like there is, so often as business professionals, we have this weird thing where we rather do stuff ourselves rather than ask for help directly. And I think what you're saying, which is brilliant, Robert, is reach out and talk to your local enterprise office, or speak to Enterprise Ireland, the appropriate department. See whether you can get someone on site that can help you with your processes, rather than just watch YouTube videos all day and then do nothing about it because you're overwhelmed. So I think that's some great advice. You'd mentioned to me, which was really good. You'd mentioned a resource that's out there, which I absolutely loved when I saw it. I didn't know it existed, where there's a million case studies, or loads of case studies. Millions, a bit of a consideration, but there's some fantastic case studies on Irish businesses that have implemented lean approaches in their business and saved their bottom line. Tell us about that case study. I'm actually going to throw a link up on the screen there. So for anyone that's watching there, this link will take you to the document that Robert's going to talk about. I think you even have a copy of it on you, don't you?
I do indeed, yeah. So
I'll throw it up here as we go.
Yeah. A long-winded name, but it's a great book. So exactly, Greg, there's a number of resources out there to support people that want to find out a little bit more about lean. And the best thing we always advise is check out some case studies, or from your own business network, who's done lean and how do they find it. So listening to Aine is brilliant. Peter Morrow there the other week, the local enterprise week is fantastic as well, by having workshops and people talking about what they've done. And this is a compendium of over 20 case studies of local micro and small enterprises across the Leo stable. So a variety of businesses and sectors across the country that engage with the Leo, got a consultant in to help them to look at how they're doing things, challenge, as you say, how can we do this and how can we do things better. Get people, help them bring in stability into their organization, get more control over, so they're working on their business, not in their business, that they're, instead of being reactive, they're being proactive. And here's hopefully what people will recognize some of the challenges that they face within their own businesses. You know what, that's really good. And one of the big things is for sure, Lean is going to help companies improve their safety, improve their quality, improve their delivery times, improve their customer satisfaction, improve their returns and profitability. But it will also help you develop your people and motivate your people more, so it's less stressful. No Leahy's in Slieve Aughty, honey, Leahy's beekeeping up near Lochray. One of the best things he said for him was that actually it bought him an extra day. He was able to take Sundays off with his family. So instead of working like non-stop, like it bought him time. So not everybody's looking to work harder. It's to work smarter and to buy up time and make the place less stressful. I know Aine there in WowWee was saying how, like, you know, her colleagues, it was a less stressful, it was a better place to work, like, you know, so helping people, you know, enjoy going to work, clarity about why they're going to work and what they're doing, and buying into that and working with you then as a business to come up with new solutions and better ways of doing things. Yeah. And so the case study is brilliant. And then there's also more in what we call Lean Business Ireland. It's a website that is able to provide more case studies for you, provide you some of the kind of the lean ecosystem, you might say, around Ireland, like, you know, whether it be there's lots of universities and colleges teaching lean, there's lots of state funding on lean, and there's also, very importantly, regional networks of people, whether it be in micro businesses or big multinational companies that are into lean, passionate about lean, and passionate about sharing and learning, helping people to kind of learn a bit more about lean and how to do things. So exactly, that website can put you in touch. So there's regional networks around the whole country, and people are more than happy to share and talk about lean, because look, it's just all common sense stuff. There's nothing new or proprietary really around it. Like, you know, you can find out about how to just help you do things better, organize your place, standardize, improve things, work your flow, listen to the customer.
Yeah, and I think as a small business, there's nothing more inspirational than reading what other businesses have done. In many ways, no disrespect to you, Robert, who's clearly an expert, but I trust Anya more because she's a business owner than you do. So peer-to-peer learning. So the case studies are magnificent in blowing our brains open with fresh ideas and a yes we can attitude, and knowing that other businesses like ours have made massive changes to their bottom line because of things. So absolutely, so some brilliant resources there. So just to reiterate, so two massive resources just to take down: leanbusinessireland.ie, check it out, and then the other one, which was the case study document that Robert was referencing there, is it's bit.ly Leo Lean case studies. So you'll see it there in the bottom line. But strongly urge that those are two links to make a note of. We'll stick them in the comments box, and just make sure that you bookmark those and you start to read some of those case studies. Absolutely brilliant advice. Fantastic. There was a question in by someone now that you may be able to help us with, Robert. This person said that they'd done the Lean for Micro program, right? And they said it was brilliant, by the way. They said it was brilliant. What other programs are available? So say I've done a Lean for Micro program. Is there another course that I could do to follow up on that one?
So there's I won't speak for Padraic and the Leos, like, you know, they have a fantastic suite of offers like that you've been talking on the last couple of weeks that will support companies in different ways. Within Enterprise Ireland, we have a number of ones as well. As regards the Lean for Micro program, if you've done one and you liked it, go again. You know, there's no limit on how many you can get, and your consultants will be able to kind of say, right, you know what, let's go. There'll be more ways you can improve and projects that to work on. So go again. And you mentioned there, like, humility is really important. The humility to kind of go, I'm not perfect, and I want to do better as a business and how we do everything. Now you've opened up huge possibilities, and you're going to listen to somebody to help you maybe kind of get us and go for it. So continue on with the Lean for Micro. Within Enterprise Ireland, we have a number of offers. So we have graded ones on the lean. We have a green offer as well. Sustainability and green and how you do things is really important as well. I think the micros are looking at some funding maybe in that. We have online retail. for a breadth of companies as well, not just in, actually not particularly Enterprise Ireland companies, but more domestically focused companies. We help exporters on their selling and stuff like that. So Enterprise Ireland is more involved with Irish-owned companies that are exporting, so helping them with their maybe market research and contacts in other parts of the world. Development of people, training, upskilling, so you can get it from the skills net as well, like a really fantastic resource, like and developing people like they're developing their capabilities and helping, hopefully changing their mindset. So maybe around their finances, maybe around their sales and marketing, maybe around their innovation, and so there's a range of offers there. So it'll help you go in and look at your whole business and all those different business pillars you might have and ways of improving those. So again, get in touch with your local enterprise office or your Enterprise Ireland office, and they'll introduce you to all the things.
In many ways, that's a mindset as a business. If you start to make the decision that you're going to start to, I suppose, take criticism, try to do things different, listen, be critical about your operating processes, there's a lot of supports out there for you. But that's probably the hardest mind shift to begin with. So someone asked a great question there, which was, how do implementing lean practices help me increase my sales, or can implementing lean practices help me increase my sales? And I suppose the more efficient we get and the better we are with our customers, that will increase sales. Tell us more.
So there's different ways there. You look at Peter Morrow, we mentioned there in Skylark. When he was busy working in his business, because making sure that the things were done properly and whatever, introducing good systems and processes in place allowed him to step back, look at the business rather than working in the business, and allowed them to kind of reach out to customers and engage with the market and help on the sales. So it just bought him time to kind of be able to kind of focus on sales and marketing, such that when they got an opening came in through the Galway Leo for sales in the US and in Australia, he hadn't had the capacity and the stability in his systems to kind of scale up and allow him to push on. There'll be that element. So you got your cost reductions are going to help improve your profitability. Hopefully, it'll free up your time that you're able to kind of focus more on sales and provide more resources maybe to it instead of being tied up within in the business. Also, the fundamental thing within Lean is that you're providing value for your customer. What is it that your customer wants? And understanding that all the time. So it's kind of being able to provide for them what they want, when they want it, in the right amount. So it's what we might call a pull, where you're responding to what the customer wants rather than pushing. Here, you go on. So it's that fundamental shift, it's providing the customer what they want and then being able to respond to that. So there's different elements in that that'll hopefully help you focus on your customer. Make sure your processes are capable of providing what they want and satisfying them. As Padraic said, then you're going to get repeat business, and then also buying your time that you can focus on the sales and the customers.
Brilliant. A question that came in is Lean similar to Six Sigma? Is it a similar process, or?
So it is. Lean will be seen as looking at more at kind of at waste and making sure you kind of get out of those and different processes you improve in do this and working on flow and providing the customer what they want. The Six Sigma is looking at reducing the amount of variation you have in your processes. So it's a little bit more statistical oriented, but we're not afraid of data. We like data so we can be more objective about things than subjective. And so they're looking to reduce variation through kind of a lot of statistical methods like that. But again, you can reduce your variation and improve your quality. You're going to satisfy your customer better and reduce your effort and resources.
Brilliant. There's a question in from Tom McGraw. Let's throw it up there, and I'm not sure the answer to this. Hopefully, so Tom's looking at it. Will the EI pay, or I suppose subsidize or fund subsidy-led lean improvement initiatives using exciting new Internet of Things technologies to save money as well as reduce waste? Question mark.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things in there. You've got sustainability, you got IoT, and you've got in the EI funding, whatever. Absolutely. So we do feel that the productivity will be tied in, improvement to productivity will be tied into the advancing smart factories, Industry 4.0s, digitization, automation. There's a lot of these things that are coming down that are going to support businesses to be better and more productive. Yes, you can get funding from Enterprise Ireland to engage, learn more about that. In some cases, maybe buy some capital or some software, but in most cases to support you in training and find out more about them. So yes, there will be funding that. And then sustainability will be an ever more central thing for companies to be sustainable and doing things better. So circular economy, green initiatives. And again, a lot of that's just about mapping out, can you reduce your amount of water, reduce your amount of energy, reduce your amount of waste, and be improvements for the company as well. So yes, again, get in touch with your local enterprise office and your development advisor.
Brilliant. Thanks for the question, Tom. Just to wrap up, there's a few very, very, very quick things, and you mentioned the internet, and really I think our starting point is probably to contact our local enterprise office. But the question then is, are there any particular templates that are very useful that will help me examine my business from a lean perspective, and where would I find them?
There are a number of what we might call assessments and audits of, from a lean perspective on how to, do an audit and check and see, how you are on problem solving, how you're on flow, how you're on continuous improvement, how you're on people engagement, how you're on standardization, quality, a range of those things that will help, improve your business. So we don't have one particular. I know that IBEC, developed a lean assessment called the MORE model, and that was developed by the MedTech Association in conjunction with the IBEC, and it's the MORE model. But I think, if you engage with a consultant, most consultants will have their own kind of maturity assessment or audit on how to gauge where you're at on your lean journey. But it's a very good way of it's a good thing to have, to do an audit of your business, both from a lean perspective, but broadly as a business. And are you on level 1? And how are you going to get to excellence in level 5? And ultimately, that's what we want every business to aim for, is to improve to being excellent in everything that they do.
Superb, yeah, so brilliant. And again, so don't be scared, don't hide behind a template and not reach out to an expert and a consultant.
I'm happy to talk further with the person, whatever. You can send on my details, and we can chat further and see what they're exactly thinking on it, but there's a number out there, and
I know with small businesses sometimes where we don't want to sound stupid. I don't want you to know just how inefficient I am, and we've got to get over ourselves. If we want to survive, we've got to get over ourselves and put our hands up and admit every goddamn inefficiency we have and do something about it. But it's nearly an Irish thing sometimes in business that I'd rather do something privately rather than engage with Robert or talk to Padraic in Clare, and we've got to get over that. You mentioned, just to wrap up, just a starting point, you mentioned that, if you've done a Lean for Micro program, that there's good regional groups that people can, I suppose, support each other, and obviously peer-to-peer support is vital. How would I go about finding a lean business support network in my region?
So back onto the Lean Business Ireland website, and they will have regional networks. So there's one in the west northwest, there's in the northeast, the southeast, the southwest, the Midlands, the Midwest, and Dublin as well. So, there will be variation about how they kind of the number of events they might have, or the workshops or whatever they might have. But yes, the people are always happy to share and learn on these things as well. So get in touch with me as well if people have any queries about that. Happy to support them on that. Lean Business Ireland website should provide some information.
Brilliant. Yeah, so that's on the screen there. So so check it out, leanbusinessireland.ie, leanbusinessireland.ie. Robert, I'm going to give you a break. You've been going for 30 minutes, bamboozling us with your knowledge. Thank you so much. I'm going to bring in the wonderful Aine Gleeson now. So thank you so much, Robert. Speak to you at the end. Aine, she's really excited. She's not. Yeah, they look at the smile on her face. There's the fantastic Aine Gleeson, incredibly modest as well, I might add, Aine. Now, Aine, you've been through the Lean for Micro program, but before you tell us about how that was for your business, why don't you tell us about your business? So tell us about WowWee.ie.
Thanks, Greg. So WowWee.ie is an online gift business. It's a gift delivery service all around the world. So it's based here in Ennis, and we've a creative team of 9 wonderful ladies who come in and they paint, embroider, engrave, and specialise in all other methods of personalisation to bring joy to people's special occasions for their birthdays, their christenings, their holy communions, and all the lovely events that happen in people's lives. We've seen people try to reach out to try and really get it right, and that's where WowWee.ie can help people. We're in business 16 years now, and it would have started very organically with, I suppose, myself at home working in my playroom and gradually growing the business and employing people. We now have 5,000 square foot of a fulfillment centre in Ennis with 14 different processes. So I think you can see where I'm going with lean on this. It was a bit of a nightmare when there were seasonal spikes. So the business was bringing a lot of joy to a lot of people around the world, but behind all that was a lot of heartache and a lot of the left hand not knowing what the right hand was doing.
And did you know how inefficient you were? I mean, at that stage, or were you just so busy doing your work that you just didn't have time to even think about those inefficiency? Or did you know that there was something that you should do something about at some stage?
When lean was first suggested to me, I thought, oh God, this is somebody now going to come in and look at my phone bill again and my ESB bill and try to give me, tiny better rates. Or it's going to be looking at somebody or the amount of refuse I'm putting away every month, or somebody kind of scrutinizing my business. But there were an awful lot of inefficiencies, some of them that I wasn't even aware of. I was going along doing what I was doing exactly as you say. I was very busy and I was too busy to address any of them, and the problems started to repeat themselves. There was a lot of duplications, and I knew that during seasonal spikes like Christmas, Holy Communion, Mother's Day, we were in trouble.
So you went for the Lean for Micro program. So just out of interest, I mean, did you think, oh my God, I'm a little bit nervous about joining this program, or was there any hesitation to sign up for the Lean for Micro program first?
There absolutely was. In fact, I was saying I'm fine. I'm grand the way I was. Yeah, I have problems like every other business. I have inefficiencies, but that's business, isn't it? And also the thought of somebody coming in, almost looking through my cupboards. I thought, oh, I don't think I want that. However, I did, and I said, well, if I learn something from it, like a lot of the other courses I've done through the Enterprise Board, that'll be something. So we had Barry O'Brien from the Leading Edge Group as our consultant. The Leading Edge Group are in Cork. And the first couple of meetings, I'm not going to lie, we were literally turning every process on its head. We were saying, why do you do it that way? Some of the answers I had, some of the answers I kind of said, well, that's the way we always did it. And those systems, procedures and processes worked when I was at home and when the business was small. But as it started to scale and grow, we were in trouble. It was challenged. So, for example, if somebody came in and ordered 6 items off our website, which would be a regular order, they may have to have 6 different processes. So one may need to be embroidered, one may need to be engraved, one may need to be painted, and one may need to dry overnight. So trying to bring that order together was a bit of a nightmare. Customers sometimes weren't happy with the lead time because things got delayed if there were a lot of processes. So that was primarily my biggest problem in the business that I knew of. But as the program unfolded, I realized that I didn't really have standardization in place in order for people to know what they were doing and to feel confident. So a lot of it was, oh, bring that down to Maria. She's really good at tying all the bows on the bauble. So Maria got all the baubles, for example, and the bows to tie. Whereas now we know that the bow on a bauble is a ½ meter, that it's tied in this way, that the ribbon is stored for that bauble there, that there's a skew on the system for it. and that every bauble that leaves here has the same amount of ribbon and it's folded in the same way. There's standardization, there's customer satisfaction, and there's efficiency. And also when I go to order at my trade fairs in January, I'm not saying, oh, give us 10 or 20 rolls. I know exactly how many meters I need to order. And that's just a tiny example of one little system that we looked at in the very first few weeks of the lean.
Wow. So talk to me about the process. So you with the Lean for Micro, you had a consultant, and obviously that was scary but fantastic, right? And that's the reality. And it's like, identify things that you never even knew that there were potential issues that you had. So the program involves of consultancy. What else does the program do? Do you engage with other businesses, or tell me more?
We did. I think I've actually just started my second lean program now because the first one was so good. But I think there was 8 or 10 in the group, and we would have had meetings together. And during COVID, we had webinars together. So that's great because you can bounce ideas off each other and learn from each other. The fact that it was my second one going through, I suppose I was a lot more knowledgeable going in the second time as to how much I really wanted from it. So I knew the cost savings, the time savings that I learned the first time. And it's kind of addictive. You want more. You can see yourself saving money. You can see your staff are happier and more confident in everything they're doing. You can see productivity going up, and you can see your customers happy. No duplications, no returns, no customer service in the morning with something gone wrong, which was happening.
Yeah, no, there's a lovely point that you made, which I would have thought of. You talk about you talk about staff being happier. So again, I think sometimes when we think of lean, we think about firing people or letting people go because of inefficiencies. But ultimately, if our employees know what they're doing, why they're doing it, and they're comfortable with the direction that they're being given, they're happier. Tell us more about that. So how's the lean program made your staff happier?
So at the beginning, I sat down with each of them and I said, what is it about your work that frustrates you or challenges you every day? What is it about that we could do differently? And most of them said, no, it's fine. And I said, okay, we're going to sit down in a week's time. And between now and then, can you please write down stuff that's annoying you that you think we could do better? My God, they came back with reams. Was I sorry for asking? And we started delving into it, and we got them actually to design their own workstations in a way that was suitable for them. They had then ownership. The stuff that was annoying them, having to walk over to the other side of the building just to get a bit of cello or to wait for somebody to finish a process, was now gone. So their day was easier. They were happier. And I just found as a team effort, they became a lot more involved in the organization, which I hadn't expected at the beginning. And they had an ownership of what they were sending out. And I remember last Christmas around the 8th of December, which would be our biggest day for parcels. And we had on post coming every hour, filling the van. And I knew that 99% of those parcels were gone as they should go. And they were gone in a really good lead time. And that to me was a huge result of lean.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Again, another advantage I hadn't even contemplated. Happier staff, which is brilliant. Did your lean processes help your sales?
They absolutely did, because what they did is it freed up resources so that we could drive sales. So we had fully optimized our website. We were top of all the search engine optimizations for all the keywords and phrases, but we'd never optimized our business. So we were getting sales in that we actually couldn't cope with. However, after lean, when time was reduced, we had more time to fulfill orders. So it made us able to scale and still be able to fulfill all those orders. So during COVID, when I was unable to bring in all my staff because it wasn't a business that was necessary, I had to start fulfilling all the orders myself. And that was kind of, I suppose, from a lean perspective, a gift in itself, because what I thought I knew from my desk and what I was experiencing when doing the orders was very different. And one of the main stories that came from me, as I was embroidering the blankets every day, each blanket came in a hard plastic cover. It also had a hanger and it had 4 clips. So to undo that blanket to get it ready for embroidery took me 2.5 minutes of no value. I was also filling my refuse bin 3 times a day and filling the recycling bin with just this hard plastic that was no good to the environment or no good to anybody really, only paying for it to be recycled. So I got onto my supplier and I said, do I have to accept the packaging that comes around the blankets? And he said, well, of course you do. And I said, why? And he said, well, that's the way they've come for the last 22 years, love. And he said, you're not going to change it. So he said, you can take them or leave them. And I said, but they're taking me like nearly 3 minutes to just unpack the blankets, and then I'm paying for the recycling. If I go to the supermarket, I no longer have to accept packaging. And it's very hard plastic, it's not breaking down. He said, okay. He said, you'll have to take it or leave it. And I said, I'll leave it. He said, leave the order. And I said, yeah, because I said, I can get blankets from Germany that are favoured by our European customers. They all come loose. And I get blankets from McNuts in Donegal or from Foxford Blankets in Mayo. They all come loose. I said, I don't have to spend the time, so I'll leave the order. He said, okay. On this occasion, I'll remove all the packaging and send it. He rang me the next morning and he said, I was calling you all kinds of names yesterday, none of them that were nice, he said, and none of them that I could repeat. He said, I filled up my recycling bin, but he said, I rang China this morning where we source our blankets. And he said, I explained the problem and I said, can I have half my order next time with no packaging? And they came back so happy. They said, oh, this is great. We no longer have to pay somebody to pack it into the hard plastic. We no longer have to clip them together. We can produce them faster and get them shipped faster. And we can also reduce the cost to you. So he said, I can then pass it on. So from one phone call, my supplier was eventually happy. The supplier in China was very happy. And I'm now getting my blankets loose. So the reduction of that alone is huge. I also had another experience during COVID where I suppose bubble wrap was always a bear bug of mine because it was plastic and because it was bulky and it never really fully protected our fragile items. So I always believe you should watch and learn from the best. So I received a delivery of myself at home of Delft and I watched how IKEA did it. And they had a craft paper. So we looked into it and we now have the craft paper for all our fragile items. We need to use a lot less of it to protect the gifts. The storage of it is tiny because it's really compact. The cost of it is lower. The customer experience is higher because it's going out consistently every time. The time involved in wrapping it is a lot less. And obviously it's kind to the environment. So there are two stories during COVID when I had the time and the experience of wrapping that I think forecasting what we will sell for the next 4 months over this busy period, it should be a saving of €3,000 to the business. Wow. Maybe small in some people's eyes, but I guarantee you if I gave 3,000 to any of your listeners today, they'd be very grateful.
Yeah, no, give it to me, give it to me. That's loads of money, loads of money. That was significant money, definitely.
Yeah.
Brilliant. There's a great question in that came in, and it's a very big one. I suppose sometimes we know about what we need to change, but we're not sure about how to execute the process. So the question in was, how did you implement the ideas practically? Was there a lot of process documents and staff training involved? Now, obviously, it will depend on the process, but what are your thoughts on that question?
So first of all, we had to measure. So I had no idea. I'd say, oh God, we've a lot of something. And Barry would say to me, but how many? And I really wouldn't know the answer. I'd say, 10 or 20. And he'd go, which is it? So I had to learn to change my mindset to measure. And when you measure and you really, really analyze a problem, right down to the core, the solution really usually pops out at you. So when it comes to processes and you work out what actually is the problem here, sometimes the solution is right there in front of you. And that's happened to me with a lot of the processes. Even going back to the ribbon, going around the bauble, that was a no-brainer because now we know how to do it. We've got written instructions beside it. We've got people in who've never tied a bauble to follow them. We know they work. And now they're set in stone. There's only one way for that ribbon to be tied, and that's a process. Again, for packing something like a Christmas tree ornament, we have one way to pack it and to fold it. There's standardization across the board. And that makes it very easy for everybody to follow, especially the staff. Yes, there was training involved, but I think training is ongoing. We're still nowhere near complete. But I've embraced lean. I've changed my thinking. I can still see so many things in the organization that need changing. I even had a staff member come to me the other day and said, if we stagger the Monday starts just by 1 hour, it's going to help this, and this, because. And I went, wow. So now their mindsets are thinking like mine because they're experiencing it. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic, and that's great. Do you have a trumpet on you by chance on you? Do you? Because I just want to take a second out. I want you to blow your trumpet for a second, because Robert was telling me about a very, very big lean award that you and WowWee won, beating off some fairly hefty competition. Tell us about that award, what you won, and who you beat off to win a very prestigious award. Tell us about that.
So last year in Croke Park, in the large banquet room full of 500 people, there was Aine on her own, and there was lots of large companies like Iarn Road Éireann, like Sisk, Unpost, a full hall of teams of people who'd managed lean. And I won the National 2019 Lean Champion Award. It was a very, very proud moment, coming from somebody who thought it was electricity bills I was looking at, to working through all the processes and having learned so much from it and achieved so much for my business. It was a great accolade for the business and a very, very special moment for me.
It's a special moment for every small business. Like, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Road Éireann, see you later. Unpost, see you later. Big companies. So just for the other businesses out there that maybe are just trying to digest what the hell lean is at this stage, look at Aine as an example, and as something that you can be. It's absolutely amazing. Thanks so much for being with us today. Just before we wrap up, if I was to ask you what your top tips were for other businesses considering a Lean for Micro program or making changes in their business, what would those top tips be?
Well, I'd say if you don't, the most dangerous waste is the waste that you don't know about.
Yeah.
My business was flooded with waste when I actually examined it, and I wouldn't have said any of it was there. And to have an extra pair of eyes come in and look at your organization was fantastic. He saw stuff that I would never have seen. So I would say to any other business out there, it's not an examination of your business. It's not criticism of your business. It's somebody who's coming to actually help you to make money, to make things better, and to make your workplace a happier place. We spend so many hours of our day at work. I'm all for structure, making the team happier. If they are happier, I'm happier.
Brilliant. Well, I genuinely am truly inspired, and to be honest with you, Padraic doesn't even need to come in now and sell me on the Lean for Micro program. I'm sold, and I never knew you could do two, and and it makes sense. And I'm sure you're such an inspiration to the other businesses that you're doing the current program with. But Aine, thank you so much. I'm going to bring Padraic in there. So Padraic, we're all inspired. Lean for Micro sounds fantastic. Can you get down into the nuts and bolts of it? So what's exactly involved? How do I sign up? How do I find out more about it? What exactly is involved? How many weeks is it, and so on? Tell us more.
Greg, and listen, great to hear Aine's story as ever. I mean, I just enjoy watching her story and her business has progressed. It's if more businesses like that, we'd all be very happy, particularly. And great to hear such positivity in the current climate. Lean for Micro, first thing is you talk to your local enterprise office, get in touch with them, see what's available. So there's up to 90% funding available for this program. So personally speaking, it's a no-brainer. If you're in business, you definitely should get in touch with us. We'll see what we can do to help you. And we run the program in two ways. The structured program, as Aine mentioned, is we form together a group because we find that networking, they work very well together and they actually learn from each other. But we actually also facilitate, if shall we say, we would do that at the beginning of the year. But if halfway through the year you've missed the start of that program, we will look doing a one-to-one bespoke training for you by appointing a lean mentor to you. And what's usually involved is the lean mentor will engage with you initially just to get a feel for your business, what sort of business you're in, what areas, what challenges you face. They then will take you through the principles of lean, because like all programs, there's a little bit of language and you need to understand the language. And then the real value is when they engage with you directly, visiting your premises. Obviously, in a COVID world, there has to be precautions around that, but that is the key area where they really help. Because quite often, and Anya, I know when I visited Anya's premises a few years ago, I sat there for 10 minutes and I probably saw things that Anya couldn't see, pure and simply because you're looking at it with a fresh pair of eyes. So you'll get details on the various websites for localenterprise.ie. Go to your local Leo, whatever county you're in. But first and foremost is simply talk to us and we'll take it from there with you.
Brilliant. And typically these programs, do you usually run a couple of them a year, or does it vary?
To be honest, it'll work different in different counties because it depends on the uptake. So, for example, we would normally look for people to engage with the program around February, March, and we try and run it through the year. But that's not to say, particularly in the COVID world, we've got approaches there within the last couple of weeks of businesses looking, exploring lean. We try to be flexible. Our role is to help businesses. So we will try and be flexible. We'll try and work with the business and see what works best for them. So, for example, somebody might approach us and we think they really would benefit from the group session. So we might suggest them, do you know what, maybe delay starting your lean program until we run the program in February, March. There's no one size fits all here. This is about trying to help a business make it better. And ultimately, from our point of view, we want our local enterprises to grow, to survive, to create employment. And I think Anya touched on it. You kind of want to enjoy your work too. When you're good, when you're successful, that brings its own sense of enjoyment and achievement.
Yeah, and so I suppose if, for example, a Lean for Micro typical program isn't happening till early in the new year, for example, that's where the likes of business mentoring can come in, where you can talk to someone and actually get an expert working with you before you sign up for a traditional program.
We've a range of supports. I mean, in Clare alone, and I'm sure my colleagues in every other local enterprise office, we've a panel of 20 experts, mentor experts with different skills. And what we do is we talk to the business. So you asked Robert a question there earlier about what other supports. A very simple one that's very strong at the moment is simply cash flow management. Hugely important to businesses in this world. And that's really using simple Excel spreadsheets, what you can do. How can you manage your cash flow, monitor your costs? Because there is a need to preserve our cash where we are challenged on the income side. So listen, don't get too caught up in what time and when this program's happened, that program's happened. We will try and work with you to find a way to assist you to the best of our ability.
So, yeah, so the message is clear again. It's reach out to your local enterprise office, have that conversation and find out more. And don't be what I would have been, and Anya may have been thinking about as well, is don't be afraid of what other people will say about your inefficiencies when they come into your business. It's a good thing. If we have lots of efficiencies, there's lots of money that essentially we can make if we do the right thing. So I think really important. Anya, just for your ego there, some lovely comments coming through. And Brendan leaves the comment there saying Anya is a credit to herself. Well, you're a credit to yourself and every small business out there and everyone that works and has been involved with WowWe. But to be honest with you, just so you know, the feedback coming through on your words of wisdom is phenomenal. So thank you for dropping by and saying that, Brendan. I want to bring Robert back in and we'll just say goodbye. Just to remember, the local enterprise office supports are out there. You can access those reports at localenterprise.ie/response. But the word of warning, a word of thing is to get in touch. So get in touch to your local enterprise office. We have 31 of them around the county. You'll find your local one at localenterprise.ie and make that phone call or email. If by chance you make a phone call and you don't get through, drop an email. Obviously, during these challenging times, the guys are very, very busy, but they're here to help you. So reach out and ask for that help. If you're interested in lean after today, reach out and ask for that help. Really, really important. I did say we got Robert in to say goodbye. So there's Robert. So I just wanted just a final huge thank you. Thank you, Robert, for your words of wisdom. I made notes and I'm going to be rewatching this. Yes, I'm super excited that lean is a lot more for every business rather than manufacturing businesses. I was full of myths before our conversation today. I'm completely inspired by Aine Gleeson. Completely inspired. I'm going to have to work on course number 1 before I can join you in course number 2, but I am completely inspired. And as ever, Padraic McElwee is words of wisdom and common sense and a complete gentleman and a super representative of what the local enterprise office is and how it can support your businesses. So to Padraic's word, if in doubt, reach out and have a conversation. They're here to help you. Aine's business started with those phone calls. So reach out and get in touch with us all. Guys, thank you so much for being with us today. We really, really appreciate it. Appreciate everything. I believe on the next show, date to be determined, but the next show we're going to be talking about mentoring, and I think it's a subsidy grant. So again, more details will be on the Facebook page in the coming days, but that will be the next Lunch and Learn coming out. So the only thing just to say before we go is just the links. So localenterprise.ie/response. That's your local enterprise office supports. Robert referenced it earlier on, and a great place to find the local lean initiatives in your area, leanbusinessireland.ie. There's some great case studies there as well. So leanbusinessireland.ie. And then last but certainly not least, the 20 case studies. I said 1 million, but there's only 20. 20 is pretty good. It's bit.ly, bit.ly/Leo Lean case studies. So those are the 3 links to look at after today. So from me, Greg Fry, it's goodbye. Thank you so much to our guests. You're brilliant. Really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Okay. Cheers.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So that's it. It's all over for another week. So for me, Greg Fry, we'll see you soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Your local enterprise office, helping your business respond.